All right, hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. I'm Nancy Rebecca, and I like to talk about everything that has to do with frequencies. And right now, the big stellar frequency is about 3I Atlas and Stardust. So I'm creating this series that's going to be happening over this time that 3I Atlas is moving closer to the Earth. And I'm calling this series Stardust and the Soul Messages from the Ancient Universe. But before I get into the different elements of Stardust, I wanted to share with you a little experience that I had with my advanced students who traveled in their astral body to visit 3I Atlas. And I've written a lot of notes from their return and what they experienced and what they said. But before I hop into that, I just want to share first that a little bit about what the astral body is and what astral travel is. So your astral body is your energetic energy field that you travel in when you dream, or you travel in when you daydream, like you're thinking about a friend and wondering what they're doing right now. You will actually, just by having that intentional thought, putting your attention on it, you will literally visit the friend or the place. For us here in my teaching, in my psychic mastery teaching, our students are more advanced students. They literally are learning not only how to work with their astral body, how to heal their astral body, how to keep their astral body in tip-top shape, how to be able to move their astral body in and out of their human energy field, and how to remain in a conscious state while they are visiting another place. So in some ways, it could be referred to as remote viewing, where you're giving coordinates in remote viewing, and then the remote viewer will tune into those coordinates and can really describe everything that's going on. So I would say it's one and the same. But for us, for the students, they literally know that they're traveling to that place in their astral body. And so I had taken a little trip to 3I Atlas probably a little over a month ago in my own astral body, because there was so much information coming in. It really sparked my curiosity. I hope it's going to spark your curiosity as well. And I got a little bit of information. I wasn't there for a long time. Like I had maybe mentioned in another video, I didn't see any aliens or extraterrestrial type beings. I didn't see any type of spaceship. I knew that I was kind of standing on a rock, is how I would describe it. However, the part that I thought was really curious was that I was picking up that there is some type of higher intelligence that is involved in this movement of this comet. And that's what I'll call it. I'll call it a comet. But I do want to share with you, because I can't remember how many of my students, let's say 20 that went to visit this, maybe 25. And here's the thing. When I ask them, how many of you have heard of 3I Atlas? So let's say that there was 25 in the group. I would say only three of my students had even heard of 3I Atlas. Now, that kind of excited me, because that meant that they were kind of going in blind. They hadn't heard of it. They hadn't had any preconceived ideas. I shared with them a little bit about my experience, where I felt like I was on a rock. It felt like maybe there was a sense of higher intelligence around, but I was really wanted the team of advanced students to go in and get their own information. I personally remained behind. I call it ground control. I was ground control, and I have the ability to really stay in touch with them while I'm here present in the room, while they're traveling, and I can kind of get a sense about what's going on, but not the details. All right. So, and then they fly back to their body. There's a certain system that they go through. They also go through a certain system of cleansing their field after they have been in another dimension. in contact with some other form. Now, we've done this traveling to pyramids, traveling to the North Pole, going under the ice, exploring what's there. We've done all kinds of different trips in the astral body, but this was a lot of fun to visit Three Eye Atlas. Now, I just want to forewarn you, I didn't write in any organized form. But what I do want to let you know is you're going to hear some themes that are repeated where the travelers, unbeknownst to each other, were picking up on very similar themes. And so that's why you will hear me repeat it. All right, we ready to get started? So the students prepared, got their energy in the flow, and then they set their intention that they were going to go to Three Eye Atlas. Now, you will hear some of them went right in. As soon as they got to the comet, they went right into the center with their astral body. And there were some of them that just kind of flew around the outer edges of it for quite a while, getting a feel for it on the outside before they decided to venture in. This is the beauty about working together as a team, is that everybody has their own perspective and how they're going to get information. So let me just get started. So Three Eye Atlas. What this one person said was that there were higher, the closer they got to Three Eye Atlas, the higher the frequency started really elevating, almost like this high pitch ringing in the ears as they got closer. They said there were streams of light that seemed to be passing them, very similar to the northern lights, and had a crystalline type shimmering all around it. Had witnessed some type of energy. It was like a silky energy. So when they're describing this, the northern lights, it was like a silky, like it had texture to it. And that there was a light blue, and they felt a galactic shift the closer they got to it. How will we describe a galactic shift? I'm not quite sure, except that I would say the time and space change is different, almost like time stood still. This one individual was talking about this sense that they were connected like star seeds, like there were star seeds a part of this Three Eye Atlas. They felt like the star seeds were light codes, and that when this comet, when Three Eye Atlas was in alignment with the sun, that these star seeds the sun was activating them. It's like they were coming online with the activation of the sun. They had to keep talking to themselves about don't get caught up in the details, because they were having this experience in their astral body, but they could still remaining kind of connected to their mind. So they had to just keep telling their mind to kind of get out of the way and just receive the information as it came. They felt like they were constantly under the state of recalibrating to frequencies, knowing that the impact on the earth was impartial, more neutral. So as these frequencies are coming to the earth, it isn't like there's judgment. It isn't like, there's this intention to uplift or this intention to change anybody. It was impartial neutrality. And it said they got the message that all humans on earth have signed a contract and agreement with this comet. So that means that spiritually, at a spiritual level, on some level, unconscious, you know that there's this agreement that you have with the comet to bring in this higher level of intelligence. Again, the rays from the sun, light codes, sun, Three Eye Atlas, and this other person was asking to see a different perspective. So they were just getting that it was a rock, and then they asked to see a different perspective. And at that point, when it shifted, they did see some other non-human life form. So number 2, this is another person and what they were sharing. They brought up seed packets. And again, this is another person, unbeknownst to the first person, is talking about seed packets And when they Three-Eye Atlas is on the other side of the sun, that these seed packets are getting activated and they will come from this area and they will infuse the earth. These seed packets are part of a divine masculine, Christed energy, energy packets. And when it lands on the earth, the divine feminine receives the codes and adds creativity to those codes. So it was something about a balancing of the male and the female. And her job, she felt like, was to really hold that kind of creative healing frequency by infusing light, like water infusing seeds in the garden right after you've planted them. This person also saw activating light codes from these other 8 points. So at this point, when they were describing, I'm like, okay, what are these 8 points that you're talking about? And they said they saw 8 escorts all around Three-Eye Atlas, that they came to observe the earth and then probe ? Are they coming to probe the earth? Are they sending probes to the earth? The higher soul kind of galactic information they got was that this higher intelligence has been here before, and before it was destroyed. So it would have been hundreds of thousands of years ago. There were also, this person mentioned, and this isn't the only time this one comes up, you'll hear me mention again, is about a green gel. And this green type gel, very much like a emerald green, is just like this pure elixir of love. So this will come up a couple of times. Another observer, traveler, saw that there was kind of this smoky energy around, that it was trying to be obscure, that it was trying to kind of hide behind this veil. But the consciousness that came through was that this knowledge coming in with Three-Eye Atlas is to help us ascend, to go through changes that we are going through. And in a real sense, this expansion of the self and expansion of consciousness. So we are becoming more true to ourselves, authentic, but also expanding in our consciousness. There was this sense of knowing that was very familiar to this person. This is the person that went straight in. And I'll call it ground control, here on the ground, as I'm visually using my clairvoyant sight to kind of watch the team. I definitely saw one of the lights, astral lights of this person, go straight into the middle. So it was fun to hear back from them when they identified themselves as that person. They wanted to go in, they wanted to go straight to the core. Their intention was to go to the highest dimension possible. They described it as an Om energy, like the sound of the universe, the sound of pure consciousness. They also heard this similar, like the sound of whales. And they said that on the underside of the comet, it was more like a fire-like glow without heat. I thought that was fascinating. They expressed they did not want to leave. There was just such a benevolence that they wanted to stay around this, the consciousness of Three-Eye Atlas. They were shown people coming online, like suddenly popping, and they heard a popping sound, pop, 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 which just showed activation and this benevolence. This person said is the best astral experience they have ever had in their entire life. They felt like it was ancestral familiar, as if they came from the stars. And I'm wondering how many of you are listening in right now. Can you feel the frequency that I'm sharing with all of you? Does it feel familiar to you? Do you feel like maybe you came from the stars? So there was this ancestral familiar, like a birthright. This is our birthright. It's peaceful. Again, busy activation, very accessible. All are welcome to explore. So they did get that message. This particular person got this message that everyone is welcome to explore. There was elements, metals, nickel inside. There was a lot of peaceful healing energy. They could see multi-dimensional, intergalactic, multi-universal portals. Boy, that's a mouthful, right? Multi-dimensional, intergalactic, multi-universal portals that were inside. Anyone who has the means to explore can move through those portals and end up in different galaxies in different parts of the universe. All right, so here is another person. They got right away, it was a rock type comet, but they also found there were other dimensional light beings that were passing through. And so they got that same sense that there's these multi-dimensional, we'll call them multi-purpose portals that they could just kind of pop in and pop out. So that made sense to me, because even though I didn't see any non-human intelligences, I most certainly could feel it. So let's see, rocket, comet, other dimension light beings passing through to bring multidimensionality to the earth. Curiosity, the same, some need to see it as a comet. Okay, so some people need to see it as a comet, so it shows up as a comet. We were encouraged. She brought back the message, have curiosity. If you have curiosity, you will see its higher ability. And they felt like they really could bilocate. They could really get a strong sense of how they were doing on the earth and how they were doing out there on 3i Atlas. They did hear that it's time for us to get our act together and to help Earth. So that message was coming through incredibly strong. One of our people did ask the beings, how do you feel knowing that humans are so curious about 3i Atlas? And the answer that came back is, we carry the essence and the fingerprint of the greater God. We are just like you. We are all more similar than you may realize. And that they help assist us to get to our, here's that word again, multidimensional frequency. And when hit with galactic energies, it's very helpful if we can really ground ourselves in a stronger way. Almost everyone agreed in the group, 3i Atlas is not just a rock. That things are about to get real. It's like, oh my gosh, how much more real can it get? But it was like, that was the message that they came back with. Things are about to get real really fast. And that with 3i Atlas, this is a huge wake-up call. This frequency is coming through as it's coming through, we are hit with galactic energy. And so I'm going to be talking about that in this series, Stardust and the Soul, about messages from the ancient universe, as we're talking about Stardust. And speaking about Stardust, I am having an event. I'll put the link here for still time to register for the winter solstice. And I'm doing another event for 3i Atlas for those who wish to participate in those events. You can read all about it in the link. So this other person that was coming through talked about blueprint papers, like floor plans. So they almost saw this kind of blueprint laying throughout 3i Atlas through this comet, but they also could feel like a force field around it. And they said inside there was a lot of spinning particles. And when they asked what these spinning particles are about, telepathically to this kind of at times unseen intelligence. Now, it wasn't unseen to everybody. Some people who visited did see other beings, but it said that these spinning particles, we'll call them stardust, the purpose is to prep the garden for seeding. So again, this is a whole different person who got the same information, prepping a garden for seeding, prepping the Earth before galactic visitation. There was a lot of blue light, white blue light, that came up several times. It came up as well several times that the sun is playing an enormous role in activation of 3I Atlas. That 3I Atlas came from billions of years away, getting Earth ready for different frequencies. Again, high frequency. So this was talked about again. The individual here said it took a while for them to integrate. So they moved quite slowly around before they got closer. So everybody's very different in how they're going to experience things. Someone said it was rock hard, and that was my experience as well. But they said that there are portals to get inside. They saw multiple rooms. One individual here said they made eye contact with a female. She said, I was nervous, but then I heard telepathically in my head such a high frequency that I can't remember what they were saying to me. And that's not uncommon when you can hear telepathic information at such a high frequency that it's just too high, too much to be able to bring into the body. They said the purpose of 3I Atlas, the information they got was, again, to support and help Earth. Very positive information. It felt strong, a very strong galactic connection, like with our galactic family. Another student felt a third eye activation. So third eye is the spiritual eye that you can see with greater clarity. Like for me as a clairvoyant, when I can see in different dimensions at the same time, that's my third eye. And so they really felt a strong kind of tingling in their third eye from 3I Atlas. So I'm really curious if any of you have been experiencing that. They also said there were distinct sounds. They also said there was a green slime. So remember I said another individual talked about this green like jello. It was very beautiful. It was very playful. And what they said was, if this is what pure love feels like, it was absolutely wonderful. Another of our travelers said this experience was incredibly massive, incredibly massive. They were so surprised. The portal opened, so right away, and I know that this individual went around the comet for quite a while before they moved in closer. They said there was a portal that opened. They went ahead and went through into the inside of 3I Atlas, and there were lots of little rooms filled with seeds to seed our galaxy. She said, I had a sense that they have been here before. And that came up from another person, right? Who said it felt so familiar. They've been here before to work with creative energy. And so that's what they really love about the Earth. And I don't know that we can fully conceptualize just how much creativity, how much constant creation is on our Earth. And so they said they are here to help work with the creative energy that we have naturally on the Earth, and that it is part of the Galactic Federation. Now, I have made a video about the Galactic Federation and the potential of galactic communities coming together for the greater good. They said there were new boxes of life, like just these seeds that just were life, very organic and very programmable matter. So I'm not quite sure exactly what that meant. So another individual was talking about a Stargate portal, like the show Outlander. For any of you who might be Outlander fans, I've not ever watched that show, But they said that this Stargate and this portal, the information they got from Three Eye Atlas is that it's really activating the stone circles on the Earth right now. It is connecting to the stone circles so that the pass between you can move through one and end up in another place. The energy beings could feel it. Not sure if they were actually there or if it was an energy signature. So again, they could feel the presence of energy beings, so they don't know if there was actually energy beings around, or they just felt this kind of impression, this kind of imprint of where they were. You know, like if have you ever walked into your house and you're like, somebody's been in my house, even though you're looking around and everything seems in order, and you're like, somebody's been here. It's that same type of feeling that they were having. And they felt that there was this sound or an energy signature, like moving in and out of the portal. They heard a vibrational hum. And behind the sun, there's a calibration going on with the sun. Again, this came up again to make sure that it's at the frequency it's supposed to be in. And then they make adjustments and recalibrate before they're going to release, whatever, the seeding. There was a pulse back and forth with the sun. Again, here is now another person describing this green hue. They said at first there was blue-purple hue in the front, and then there was this greenish hue. This person also describes small counterparts, like a plant nursery, like spores from mushrooms that had alcove packets filled with data. Isn't that amazing? To think this team of 25 people traveled in their astral body to Three Eye Atlas. Only 3 had ever heard of it, and none of them had been tracking it or following the videos about it. But they all come back with similar information. Again, this person was another person who talked about the fingerprint of the divine, or what would we call the fingerprint of God, but it was shown as that we are a cosmic family tree, and they were shown inside Three Eye Atlas. It's like how, have you ever gone to like hiking in a park? It's like, you are here and this is the waterfall where you're going. Well, it was kind of like that. They were shown, fingerprint of the divine, shown a cosmic family tree. You are here and this is where you are going. And there were data crystals. And they said that there was this kind of crude way of trying to understand in human terms that what these higher intelligence beings are saying, that it's the words that we have that we draw from, is our understanding of it we have a crude understanding, and the words that we have are just inadequate to understand the things that are how to conceptualize, right? This galactic information that's coming in. And they said that this is another person who saw, like, I don't know if they're guardians or they're a support team of these other 8. I don't know if they were other smaller bits of rock that maybe broke off of Three Eye Atlas, or maybe they are starships. But the way this individual described it is like an outrigger canoe that has that side arm that helps keep it balanced and on course. They said there was a collective fear that is really being transformed by this frequency, and that they're trying to help us get to a state where our body doesn't feel so fearful about potential disclosure, about potentially seeing non-humans or potentially seeing spaceships. But there was this sense that they are preparing us for full disclosure. So once everyone, of our students. That's kind of the conclusion of the notes that I wanted to share with you all. But when they came back, there was just like this stillness. There was like this stillness, this silence, like, what have we just experienced? And yet there was this level of excitement as well. I just recently, now this visit probably happened not recently, like a few weeks ago, but just a couple days ago, I spoke with someone. I had a question with one of my advanced students because she was talking about the earth and the trees and the mycelium and the rocks. Like all of a sudden, there's these underground caves that are calling to her. There was this deeper sense of connection to nature. And so I just kind of reached out through email and asked what was going on, because I've always known this person for a long time, probably has been an ongoing student for the past 10 years. And the first good 5 to 7 years, she spent just trying to consistently be grounded. And she shared with me that ever since she visited 3i Atlas, she experienced such a profound change that it's like she can hear nature, she can hear the hum, she can hear depth. There's this like underground worlds, underground oceans. Like there was just this earthly consciousness that has opened to her, and those doors will never close again. And she thanked me for opening that experience up to them. But yeah, it's pretty profound. So let me just kind of go back for a moment when that message came through that said anybody can visit. So for us, when we visit, it's like, some of my students travel with dragons all around them. Some of our students travel with angels all around them. Some of our students create like this little crystalline bubble, like, the Jetsons' little spaceship, and they'll imagine being inside this bubble. Some just like to travel just as they are with some of their healing guides with them. But I would always suggest that you check in with your higher self, check in with your own spirit, your own sense of intuition to see if it's right for you or not. And then you can just set your intention to visit. Now, for me, I will tell you in the beginning, before I actually visited, I just set my intention to bring the frequency of 3i Atlas into the room where I was. So I wanted my body to get used to that vibration and frequency. So I know it sounds a little out there, but we got some really great information, and I know that we are going to get so much more. And when we have our 3i Atlas event with the winter solstice event at the end of December, it's I'm calling it a Stardust activation. And as a Stardust activation, I've decided to make a 5-part series. I call it Stardust and Soul, Messages from the Ancient Universe. And we're going to make this kind of series starting with episode 1, that we are made of stardust. So I'm going to do this little kind of educational series about that. As I researched it, I was having a lot of fun. But just know that the link for the event that's coming up at the end of December is available for you to check out, read all about it. And I would love for you to join us, because it is going to be a galactic event of a lifetime. However, the other video that I made live on Thursday was, why are we focused on the galactic when there's so much suffering in the world? Can somebody tell me that? And out of that came some incredible information. So I invite you to go back and watch that one too. Why our galactic and stardust connections matter. So we're moving into a really cool time on this earth, even though there's some real things are about to get real, and things have been very real on other levels. And it's a coming together. of all of our bits. Because why? We are stronger together than we ever have been apart. So thank you for tuning in, and I would love to hear from you in the comment section. If you felt any frequencies when you were listening to this talk, if you felt any kind of third eye activation, if you saw any colors, if you have a sense, what do you think Three Eye Atlas is? And it's exciting. It's just such an exciting time. There's so many people talking about it. So explore on YouTube, just put it in the search engine. You're going to hear all kinds of opinions. But ultimately, the only opinion that matters is yours to yourself. All right. All right. Take care, everyone. Enjoy your Stardust collections.